Hey, so I'm going to show you how to solve this equation here if you know that the y value is equal to 0.8. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to plug in 0.8 for y and I start solving this. I need to get the sign by itself, so first I'm going to subtract 0.8 from both sides. That's nice because it ends up as a 0. And you see the 0.2 is out in front of the sign. I need to divide that. So let's divide both sides by 0.2. And fortunately we get 0 equals sign of that 2.6 times x minus 3.3. Okay, so now in order to remove the sign at this point, we need to do the inverse sign of both sides. Okay, so I'm going to take the arc sign of both sides, and what we get is arc sign of 0 equals 2.6 times x minus 3.3. So I could leave it like this all the way to the end of the equation. I normally probably would just for accuracy. And so you notice I'd keep going by dividing both sides by 2.6, but arc sine of 0 is 0. So I'm actually just going to plug in 0. And then we, 0 divided by 2.6 is 0. Then we add 3.3 to both sides. And we get the answer of x equals 3.3. But not so fast, because that's not the only right answer. In fact, if we think about a graph of sine, let's say my answer is over here, right? See that green dot? If that's the answer, where y is 0.8, there's actually another answer over here, where y is 0.8. And there's another one over here. And there's actually an infinite number of answers. So what we need to do is we need to think about, well, how do we figure out all those other answers? And one way to do it, you notice I'm jumping over by the period, right? You go to the right, you add or subtract the period, and you get another correct answer. So let's figure out the period. Remember that period is equal to 2 pi over b. My b here is 2.6, so I do 2 pi divided by 2.6, and I get about 2.4. That means with my 3.3, I could add 2.4 and I'd have another right answer. Or I could also subtract 2.4 and go the other way and have another correct answer. So what I want to do is I want to get the answer that's closest to 0, because that's the one that usually makes sense in these situations, the one that happens first. And so I subtract 2.4 and I get 0.9. Okay, now you can be a little more exact with that if you don't round quite so much, but that's very close to what you get for the x value. Now, what about the ones in between? So you notice if I had y equals 0.8, let me just, here, I'll sketch that in black right here. See that? It doesn't hit just at the green points, it also hits it at these in-between points. And this is a deeper, more difficult problem. It comes back to the equation 0 equals sine of something, okay? There's actually two solutions to this equation. Even though inverse sine of 0 is only one value, there are two solutions. And instead of jumping into that in this whole video, if you go back and look at the 4.7 video, that explains more why. So I'm not going to repeat myself here, but if you want to dig deeper into this problem, which I would strongly recommend, the two solutions are actually 0 and pi. If you think of the unit circle, there are two places where the y value is 0. It's at 0 and at pi, 1, 0 and negative 1, 0. And so because there are two solutions, we can actually, you could come back here and instead of doing that, you could plug in pi right here. Oops, not right there, sorry. Right here, and arc sine of 0 is pi, and divide pi by 2.6 and solve the rest of the equation that way, and therefore get a whole nother answer. Okay, so just wanted to share that with you and give you a little taste of how to do these kinds of problems.